So welcome back to DC Silver Age Storytime. This time we have More Fun Comics number 53 from March 1940, and the story is The Spectre Strikes, and so there is the Spectre. So when last we left off, this is a two-parter, the origin story. Detective Jim Corrigan had been killed by a group of criminals led by Gat Jenson. Unfortunately, his fiancée was still in the hands of these criminals. So, despite being killed, Jim Corrigan is now returning as an extremely powerful spirit, or the Spectre. So, he's able to walk in, and one of the thugs, who is told to kill her, he says, "Holy cats! It's," and then some. I guess so this is supposed to be Jim Corrigan. It's not quite clear, but I guess because it's in shadow. Drawn by a terrible hypnotic fascination, the gangster peers deep into the dark to Jim's dark eyes and glimpses death. It's him, come back from the dead, Jim Corrigan. So he drops his gun, and the other guys think he's crazy because they don't see Jim Corrigan. But finally, he does make an appearance, and Gat Jenson says, "It's Jim Corrigan, but it can't be. He's down at the bottom of the river. This must be his ghost." "Ghost nothing, but he soon will be when I get finished with him." So he shoots 5 shots, and they have no effect. He goes to touch Jim Corrigan. "Yay! No!" So his skin starts to wrinkle. Then his skin and garments commence to fade away until he's a skeleton. "What have you done to me? Don't leave me like this. You've robbed, you've killed, and this is your reward." And this skeleton just drops to the ground. And this is kind of the thing with the Spectre. He doesn't just... I mean, most of the superheroes in the DC don't kill, but he kills, but he also does it in brutal fashion. Not thinking of leaving, are you? So he just kind of toys with Gat Jenson for a little bit, and Gat Jenson says, "Back, do you hear? I'll plug the dame." And he does. He plugs her. Bang. I'm sorry. Jim Corrigan at this point had made duplicates of himself, so there's 3 versions of him. So they close in upon the shrieking gangster with a rush, and I guess just beat him up. So he says, "She's dying. She mustn't die. She's too young. She's got everything to live for." And when he looks down, she's healed. So I don't think that was him that healed her. I think it was the ghostly spirit, or the spirit that talked to him and told him that he must rid the world of all crime. "Then it's true what they say. You're not dead. Oh, I'm so glad. How can I tell her she's wrong, that she holds a ghost in her arms? She must never know." So he comes up with an explanation, and then they call the police and send away Gat and one of his guys. I guess the guy who turned into a skeleton, I guess he's really dead. The other 2 are just kind of... He says, look at them. They've lost their senses. So they're senseless at this point. So Jim and his fiancée drive away, and he says the engagement's over. The engagement's off. "But Jim, why? Isn't it obvious? I simply have ceased to care." "Surely you're joking." "I'm dead serious." "But Jim, we mean so much to each other, you and I. You can't discard our love like an old sock. Please, Clarice, you're making it difficult for me." I don't know why he's... I mean, okay, I can understand. I'm a ghost. I can't be married. But, man, he's kind of cruel about it. So she... looks like she's hovering over the ground, but I guess she's racing back to her house. So Jim goes back to his friend. I don't remember what his name is, but he's packing out. He's leaving. I guess he figures he can't live with a normal human anymore. So he goes, and then he crafts his costume. "I'll continue to be Jim Corrigan, detective, but when I battle crime as the Spectre, I'll cloak my identity in this costume." I don't think this was long-lived, because my impression was always that the Spectre was just a separate entity. I mean, I honestly don't know how much interaction they have, whether it's just an entity that leaves Jim Corrigan, but it certainly wasn't Jim Corrigan in a costume. So I'm not sure how long this exists where he is supposedly just wearing a costume and not a separate being or himself in a separate guise. But that is the first appearance of the Spectre as the Spectre, and the second part of the origin story of the Spectre. So that is More Fun Comics 53, The Spectre Strikes.